Hey, it's your boy Easy, and on today's episode of Easy Opens, we'll be taking a look at the Beastman figure from Mega Construx. So let's get this figure free from his plastic prison, take a look, and see what we think about Beastman. So here's Beastman fresh out the box with all of his accessories. Now, if you're not familiar with Beastman, he is a character from the Masters of the Universe franchise, universe, whatever you want to call it, and he is Skeletor's #1 right-hand man and has the ability to talk to / control Beast. Now, that kind of sort of gives him the same abilities as Aquaman, and he kind of has that same stigma about him where you're kind of like, what does Beastman do? Until you see him like summon like a horde of dragons or all this other stuff. And he's used to his abilities are used to, varying effects, I guess. Like sometimes it's really good, well done, and sometimes it's like, why didn't you just do this? But he's one of those characters that has a really wide-ranging ability that you could do a lot of stuff with, but doesn't really often do that much with it. However, he was one of the original characters from the Masters of the Universe toy line and is an integral part of any Masters of the Universe collection. And so I'm really excited to have him here in plastic form in the Mega Construx line of action figures. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and talk about his accessory. So Beastman comes with his usual weapon of choice, which is a whip. This is mostly used on the beast that he is already controlling to, control them further, exert his dominance over them. I don't know. He's a bad guy. He does bad stuff, and usually people use whips, unless you're Indiana Jones, for nefarious purposes. So, but either way, this is the only weapon that he comes with, and if I'm not mistaken, this is the weapon that he came with as in the original toy line as well. And this character in general looks like, it looks like the Classics version of that character shrunk down. And so, yeah, Beastman really doesn't have any other accessories. I guess you could say he has the arm, I don't know what you call them. They're basically armor parts. So those can be detachable, and they look really cool. They're highly detailed, and they're like super nice. I got the figure here, and he's just like, it's just, I don't know, it makes the figure pop. It looks so good, and they're really cool, but other than that, that's really all the accessories he comes with, besides the stand and his nameplate and everything. The whip is really all you get, and that's really all you need, and that's usually all he's ever seen with. So can't really fault them for not giving us more, because that's really all the character needs. So Beastman stands at about 2 inches tall, which is typical for the rest of this line. And so, yeah, but having said that, let's go ahead and take a look and see how he measures up to some other figures you might have in your collection. Here he is next to the D-Arts Venusaur and the Nindoroid Kirby figures. Here he is next to the Mega Construx Michelangelo and the Minimates Donatello. Here he is next to Lego's Stay Puft Marshmallow Man minifigure and Connect's Shy Guy. Here he is next to the Funko Mystery Minis Rose Quartz and the Loyal Subjects White Ranger. And here he is next to the 66mm figure of Mega Man. And finally, here he is next to the Mega Construx Skeletor and He-Man figures from the same line. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the paint and sculpt of this figure. Now, this figure looks fantastic. That's just right off the bat. It looks like, as I said before, the Classics version of this figure just shrunk down. It's ridiculous the amount of detail that Mega Construx are able to put into these figures. I mean, just at 2 inches tall, you would think that they would just be very broad strokes and like just skimping everywhere, and it would just be like a real basic kind of figure. But no, like there's so much detail. They have like all kinds of fur and just ornate kind of details into this character. It's ridiculous. So they did an amazing job with the sculpt. The face has all kinds of just rivets in his forehead and all this stuff. I'm super impressed with this figure. The paint, given that this is a mass market kind of figure at a lower price, the paint is kind of where we see less detail. What's there is a lot there, but if a customizer could totally get in here and give this figure repaint this figure and make it look insanely good. But for what it is at the price point we're getting it at, and given that it's a mass-produced figure, this is not bad by any means. It looks fantastic. And again, like I said, looks just like the Classics figure, and it looks great. A little bit of blackwash could probably make this figure pop a lot more, but still, what's here is not bad by any means whatsoever, and hopefully is indicative of what they're going to be doing with the line as it continues, as from what we've seen revealed at like Toy Fair in San Diego, that they're going to be doing more figures. That this is a really good start to what's hopefully going to be a really verbose line and having a lot of really cool parts. And given that I believe Mattel owns Mega Construx now, Mattel is notorious, especially through Masters of the Universe, for parts reuse. So the detail you see on these figures, you're going to see in other figures. So with Beastman, you're going to see it probably in Stinkor or Mossman and Stratos. There we go. That's what I was trying to think of. And so you'll see a lot of that with characters who have like fur or some sort of other kind of like, I don't know, textured body. Like his medallion is all detailed. The fur everywhere. I think it's the fur that's getting me. The fur and the spikes, just everything about this figure. I love this figure. It just looks so good. So good job on you, Mega Construx. So now let's take a look at the articulation that you're going to get out of this Beastman figure. All right, let's take a look at the articulation you're going to get out of the Mega Construx Beastman action figure. So let's start with his head. His head is on a 360 rotation, but due to his armor, he can only really look side to side, about that far. He can look up. Let's see if we can get him to look up at all, just a little bit, and he can look down, just a little bit. His arms are on his shoulders, I should say, are on a 360 rotation at the shoulder. His elbows and wrists are also at a 360 rotation at their respective points. And his elbow also has a joint to where you can get some good range of motion there. To bend it forward and front and back to front, all over the place. Let's see, his legs can go back this far, and he does have a single jointed knee. His legs can go forward pretty far without popping off, and this is as far as they can go, and I keep popping his armor off, but that's as far as they can go out without popping off. And he does have side-to-side articulation at the waist. I don't know if you can see that very well, but yeah, he can move side to side. And that's all the articulation you're going to get out of this Mega Construx Beastman action figure. All right, so final thoughts on Beastman. So Beastman is one of those characters that is absolutely crucial in any Masters of the Universe toy line. Like, you have to have him or else it feels incomplete. He was one of the first figures in the original 1980s toy line, so it makes perfect sense that he would be in the second wave of Mega Construx line of minifigures for Masters. His design is really cool. It seems kind of basic, but I think it's just because he was one of the earlier figures in the Masters line that I feel like it's basic because it got more ornate as the line went along. But still, just keeping it strictly to this figure, he looks fantastic, and the design is great. His fur looks awesome, but what really makes him pop is his armor pieces, like his I don't know what you'd call it, but the fur, the harness, I guess is what you could call it. The harness, the fur on the harness, the medallion, the spikes, the armor pieces on his arms, all of that look amazing and really helped to make this figure stand out. The paint apps look great on this figure, and again, like I've said, it essentially looks like the Masters of the Universe Classics figure of this figure shrunk down, and that's high praise because those figures are amazing as they are. And so the fact that they could get so much detail and so much articulation and so much paint and just so much goodness into this figure at this size at 2 inches tall is insane. And so Mega Construx is really killing it right now. And I'm a huge fan of this, and I'm super excited to see where they're going to go with this line and how they're going to reuse these parts. Like I said earlier, we're probably going to see this figure be reused for Mossman or Stinkor or Stratos. And hopefully what they'll do is they'll use the accessories that they can add to these characters to give them more flair and more detail, to make these standard bucks that they're going to reuse a lot be different enough, like differentiate them enough with those other added parts, so that it doesn't look stale or just like we have a bunch of the same figure just painted differently. And I'm sure they'll be able to do that because this is nothing new for Mattel. This is something that they were one of the earlier adapters to the parts reuse. It wasn't just solely them, but they totally used that for Masters. In fact, I think that was Masters, most of it was taken from Big Jim, their previous line. And so, yeah, so this is nothing new for them. So they're already doing great, and it looks like they're going to continue to do that, especially just given from He-Man and Skeletor to Beast-Man. It looks amazing and is really good, and I'm really excited about where this line is going. I highly recommend this figure if you're a Masters of the Universe fan. You need to have Beast-Man. Like, if I could see you just having He-Man and Skeletor, that's cool. But if you want to go further, or think that you might want to go further at all, like if there's another character in the line that you're thinking you're probably going to want to get, chances are you're going to get down the rabbit hole and want to get all of these, because I believe in the States at least these are about $5. So, at that low of a price point and the amount of quality and detail and articulation and paint and everything that you're getting out of these figures, I should say, you're probably going to regret not picking up Beast-Man. Much like I regret not picking up Tila when I saw her, because I thought I'd see her again and I haven't seen her yet, and it's been a while. So highly recommend picking up this figure if you have the slightest desire to own any more of the Masters of the Universe characters outside of He-Man and Skeletor. Definitely pick this figure up. On its own, it's a great figure too, so you can't go wrong really either way. So again, highly recommend this figure, and thanks Mega Construx. Hope to just keep making more of these figures, because you're doing a great job, and hopefully it won't be too long before we have another huge collection of Masters of the Universe characters. All right, well, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for watching, and if you liked what you saw, please hit that like button, and if you want to see more of me, please hit that subscribe button as well. And if for some strange reason you want to hear more of me, you can do that by going to the description page of this video and finding the links to my other podcast, where we have Turtle Soup, where a friend and I talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles every other week, and then we have another show where some friends and I talk about a different record, usually every other week, but that's called Daydream Nation. And so those are available wherever podcasts are at. Every podcast is at, so you can find that all over the internet. And yeah, that's going to do it for me. So thanks again so much for watching, and be sure to check back here often for more opening goodness right here on Easy Opens. Else time.